Welcome back to a Flashpoint problem. Season 1, Episode 3. To change the future or not to change the future? Barry thought. That is the question. Central City Police Department, holding cell, 10 p.m. Still in his Flash uniform, with his cowl off, Barry lay on a cot in one of the holding cells. He stared at the ceiling, focusing on it to avoid looking at the bars surrounding him and the criminals in nearby cells who mocked his head to toe red suit. Barry ignored them all. He was making calculations in his head. He knew the police could hold him for 48 hours without charging him, and he sensed that Detective Singh, Joe, and the ADA somewhat believed his story. He estimated that the DNA results would arrive the next morning if there was a rush placed on it. That would prove he was the son of Henry and Nora Allen, thanks to the DNA they had submitted as well. However, Barry knew there would be differences between his DNA and that of his younger self. He remembered Caitlin explaining that his DNA had mutated after the lightning strike. So my younger self and I won't have the exact same DNA, Barry thought before a weight seemed to settle on his chest. Thinking of Caitlin inevitably brought Cisco to mind. He had taken their lives away from them. Closing his eyes, he wondered what their futures would be now, and his heart ached at the possibility that they might never meet. He sighed, sat up, turned on the cot, and rubbed his face after placing his feet on the floor. Barry wondered what else he could change. At the same time, he questioned what he should do. He had a chance to alter the future. And then his thoughts spiraled. There's so many things I could do. I could stop so many things from happening, Barry thought as he stared at the floor. I could. Damn it, stop, Barry. He leaned back on the cot, resting his head against the wall, and fixed his gaze on the bars in front of him. No matter how much he wanted to, he couldn't change anything. Look at what I already did, Barry thought as he examined his hands. He tried to vibrate, but all he managed was a shaky tremor, making him look like someone going through withdrawal. The criminals in the nearby cells mocked him for it, one even making a crude suggestion about what he could do in the red suit. Barry ignored them again and leaned forward. I saved Mom, and there was a backlash, Barry reflected. I don't have my powers anymore. If I interfere with future events, what will the backlash be? Do I even dare find out without my powers? My powers! My powers! His eyes widened as realization struck. He remembered what had happened to the Reverse Flash. The villain had changed history by killing Nora Allen, a death that wasn't supposed to happen, and it had stripped him of his powers. He was cut off from the Speed Force, Barry realized, as he reached for his emblem. He twisted it, removed it from the recess in his suit, and discreetly examined the small Tachyon device attached, keeping it hidden from the other prisoners. He quickly reattached it, a faint smile forming. Thawne used tachyons to charge his body so he could run, Barry recalled. He was still faster than me with those bursts, but he could run. Without the equipment at Star Labs, I can't confirm anything. But what if, like Thawne, my body is still primed for the Speed Force? If I'm cut off from it, then I need something to charge me. Barry remembered what happened with Blackout when his speed had been stolen. To regain it, he had been hit with a massive surge of electricity. The problem now was determining whether that would work in his current situation. Star Labs didn't exist yet, so there was no way to run the necessary scans using the advanced technology from his timeline. He could risk exposing himself to massive amounts of electricity without testing his body first, but that could kill him. Barry knew he had no choice but to consider tachyons. That brought a new set of problems. He remembered Cisco explaining that a tachyon device functioned like a battery, giving him bursts of speed, but it needed to be charged. Or at least he thought it did. But the technology for this doesn't exist yet, Barry thought as his shoulders slumped in frustration. I'll have to wait for Star Labs or Mercury Labs to develop something first. Dr. McGee said Star Labs was on the cutting edge of science, but that was because Thawne replaced Dr. Wells. Oh, I'm getting a headache. He exhaled slowly, trying to organize his thoughts. Okay, first things first. I need to be careful and stay out of history's way. Second, I need someone to look at this tachyon device, because I have to help Oliver, just like I did in my timeline. Thawne said the particle accelerator was meant to activate it in 2020. but Oliver will need my help 17 years from now. Maybe I could show this to Dr. Wells in this timeline. And Barry groaned in frustration. Oh, come on. That would cause another backlash. Would it? Damn it, Thorn was right. I have no idea what I'm doing. He lay back on the cot again, the weight of his thoughts pressing down on him. He mentally ran through every option and eventually arrived at the only conclusion that seemed viable. He needed to contact Dr. Wells, the real Harrison Wells, and try to convince him to help. I need my speed back, Barry thought. I have my parents. Now I need my speed. I just hope I don't make things worse. But his thoughts didn't stop there. Unable to sleep, his mind continued arguing with itself, one side urging him not to interfere, the other insisting he had a responsibility to save lives, no matter the cost. He stared at the ceiling, imagining what could have been. He pictured Iris, Joe, Cisco, and Caitlin helping him cope with his father's death. He imagined what Oliver would tell him, having lost both his parents as well. A faint smile formed as tears gathered in his eyes. Barry imagined taking Iris on their first official date, which would, of course, be interrupted by a metahuman. Barry thought with a quiet chuckle, picturing Iris's expression before he dashed off. He imagined bringing her to Star Labs, where she would help Cisco and Caitlin as they worked together to stop the threat. His thoughts drifted further. He imagined standing at the altar with Oliver as his best man. His friends sat in a small church as Joe walked Iris down the aisle. He imagined Oliver telling him he was a lucky man. He saw Cisco, Caitlin, Harry, Jesse, and even Jay seated in the front row. Then he imagined Iris in her white dress, and it took his breath away. He imagined kissing her as everyone cheered. Barry imagined having children with Iris, becoming director of the CSI division at CCPD, and protecting Central City as the Flash. Lying on the cot, he envisioned the life he could have had, the life he had thrown away, a life that was now impossible. All he could do was sigh as the two thoughts returned, louder than ever. To change the future or not to change the future, Barry thought. That is the question. The Allen residence at the same time. Henry carried the young, sleeping Barry in his arms while Nora pulled back the blanket. He gently laid his son on the bed, and Nora carefully placed the blanket over him. As Henry glanced over his shoulder to make sure the nightlight was on, Nora leaned down and pressed a soft kiss to her young son's forehead. Afterward, she brushed back the hair from his face, and her mind drifted to the look the older Barry had given her while wearing the cowl. She remembered it clearly, a look of relief mixed with a trace of worry. But that worry had quickly faded when he assured her that everything was going to be alright, that she was going to be safe. It's Barry, Nora realized as Henry placed his hands gently on her shoulders from behind. He leaned in and quietly reassured his wife that they would get through this, that after the DNA test, they would know the truth. I already know the truth, Nora murmured, her eyes fixed on their sleeping son. Our Barry traveled back in time to save us. Henry's grip on her shoulders tightened as her body trembled, and she lifted a hand to her mouth to stifle a sob. He told me I died, and you went to jail, Nora continued in a strained whisper. Henry, stunned, wrapped his arms around her from behind, holding her close as they both gazed at their son with love in their eyes. He grew up without us, Henry. Henry lowered his gaze to the boy, struggling to comprehend the idea that they had not been part of the older Barry's life, that it had been Joe who saved his son from growing up alone. My son, Henry thought, his mind reeling. This older Barry, he knew things, that I called him Slugger, that what happened yesterday after I came home from work really did happen. But traveling back in time, speed powers, it all sounds impossible. And then you died, Nora whispered. Pulled from his thoughts, Henry gently turned her to face him and drew her into another embrace as she spoke softly against his ear. You were killed, and Barry came back to us. He saved me, and he saved you. Now Barry will have two parents who love him, Henry replied softly, his gaze returning to their son. He closed his eyes for a moment, imagining what might have been, the pain older Barry must have endured. Then he opened them again. He stepped back slightly, his hands still resting on Nora's shoulders. Let's have some coffee. I'll take tomorrow off work. I can call Elise and have her transfer my patients to Dr. Roman. We'll deal with whatever the DNA test shows, and then we'll figure out the rest. Nora nodded and pulled him into another embrace. Together, they moved quietly out of the room, pausing at the doorway to turn back one last time and whisper their goodnights before gently closing the door. To be continued.